What's up, Astro Besties? Morgan here, and we are officially in the middle of the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle. And this is a 6-part Netflix series, okay? We are in part 3, moving into part 4. And in order for you to really get a deeper understanding of what story is unfolding for you in this eclipse cycle between your Aries and your Libra houses, you really have to take a zoom out and see this for the bigger picture that it is, because this is a large story. Again, this 6-part series started in April 2023, and it will not conclude. We will not see our last eclipse in the Aries and Libra axis, their cycle, until March 2025. So this is very much a to be continued story. So if you are watching this during the spring or the fall eclipse season and you're just like, what is going on? So many things are happening for me in my life, whether you are, opening yourself to new opportunities, things that you've been preparing for, and now all these things are starting to really rear and pop up for you at once. I don't have all the answers, but I can help you understand what themes are showing up for you as an opportunity to clear out that house. So whether you are entering into this new season of your life where you are really starting to reemerge as a stronger, a bolder, or more confident, a more authentic, a more you version of yourself, or whether you're still in this process of unlearning, still in this process of shedding layers, still in this process of really going back home to yourself, right? It doesn't matter what part of the process you are. What matters is that you found yourself watching this video, and that means that you are ready to learn, you're ready to level up, or whatever that looks like for you right now in this season of your life. So in this video, I am going to give you a very high level overview of the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle. So what is the bigger picture of this storyline? What lessons do we have the opportunity to learn? What are these eclipses connected to? What are some themes that are going to be showing up specifically for your rising sign? So I know y'all want them horoscopes. I'm going to have those for you too. So let's go ahead and get into it. So first things first, we need to really understand as a church, as a collective, what is an eclipse and what an eclipse is not. So an eclipse is not, for starters, is not the end of the world. It is not a doomsday new moon or full moon. An eclipse is a supercharged new moon or full moon. There are 2 types of eclipses. So a solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes between the sun and the earth, and the moon blocks some or all of the sun's light. And a lunar eclipse occurs when the earth passes between the sun and the moon, casting a shadow on the moon, and it could be blocking all or some of the moon's light. So a solar eclipse is a supercharged new moon on steroids, and a lunar eclipse is a supercharged full moon on steroids. And a lot of the reason why people will talk about like eclipses in such a negative light is because literally the luminaries are being blocked in some sort of way. Eclipses, they represent literally physically an obstruction. There is an obstruction of light. Something is being blocked. Something is being delayed. There's a delay. There's not a direct connection between the luminaries. And so if the sun and the moon are luminaries and they mean literally brings light, then of course during eclipses there is going to be a season of perceived darkness, right? This darkness is not necessarily a negative thing. It just means things are very dramatized because we don't have clarity. We don't have understanding. We're not really quite sure about the direction that we're taking, which is why people will tell you like, don't manifest, be very careful about setting intentions during eclipse season. And I 1000% agree with that. But I don't agree with the negativity around eclipses, because for me, I use astrology as a tool, and you're not supposed to be proactively doing things on a new moon or a full moon anyway. You're supposed to be doing shit before the full moon and after the full moon. So it's like on the full moon, you rest, you see, you get a chance to step back and be like, wow, enjoy the fruit of your labor. Why will we change that dynamic for an eclipse? I don't really know. But eclipse season for me is just a time, again, it's very much a rapid acceleration. So things are happening very rapidly but they're not happening all of a sudden. Like, this isn't a random occurrence, which is why I think it's important for us to talk about the eclipse cycle, so you can really understand how all of these things work together and how not they're working together for your greater good. So now that we know what eclipses are and we know what eclipses are not, now we can really talk about, what does this even mean for the collective? Like, what are some things that are going to be coming up for us as a collective, as individuals, that we're going to be working on over the next 2 years throughout the 2023 and 2025 Aries Libra eclipse cycle? So here is a visual of some of the themes that we may see throughout the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle. So again, like I said, just really quickly reinforcing, the Aries North Node are the things that we're moving towards. So anytime we see an Aries eclipse, these themes are going to be really coming through. So this sense of bravery, the sense of courage. One of the ones that I didn't put on here was direct communication. People are being extremely direct with their communication. Libras can be very passive aggressive sometimes, beating around the bush. And so this Aries energy is really encouraging us to be more courageous, be more direct, right? Be more truthful and forthcoming from the beginning. Like, from the beginning, people are really learning, like, let me just be very clear from the get-go so we don't have problems later down the road. Those are some lessons that we're learning. Also, this sense of moving away from excessive compromise, moving away from people pleasing, and moving more towards this sense of independence and self-reliance, like self-validation. There is no sense of overcompensating for, opinions and checking comparison, especially when it just comes to aesthetics and beauty metrics and all of that stuff like that. People are really starting to pay more attention to, like, what is my core purpose? That sense of self-discovery and releasing that sense of chronic indecisiveness, because there is this sense of self-confidence that is building. The Aries North Node, the more that we are proactive, the more that we're making decisions, the more that we're actively doing things rather than overcompensating in terms of planning, overcompensating in terms of like strategy. Aries is more so of a doer. And so the more that we do, the more that we learn about ourselves, the stronger that we become, and the less chronically indecisive that we are internally and externally. So making decisions for ourselves and making decisions with other people. We can easily tell other people what our needs and our wants are because we've done the self-discovery work through that Aries energy to be able to be like, listen, I don't need to be codependent on this relationship anymore. I'm very aware of the types of things that I would like to give, and I'm very aware of the types of things that I would like to receive. And so those things are really coming up for a lot of people. Also, physical strength and fitness are things that we're moving towards, because Aries is very much strong physically. You'll see a lot of things like Pilates is trending, strength training is trending. Like, people are really starting to realize how important their physical strength and their physical fitness really does have an impact of overall well-being, mental health, and self-confidence. Like, when you look good, you feel good. When you're strong, you feel mentally strong. And so that is very important in some capacity, to really focus on your physical fitness and getting stronger mentally and physically throughout this cycle. Also, more people are becoming more of a risk taker. Again, that just comes from that moving through that people pleasing of like, I've taken away the possibility, the fear of judgment. I've taken away the fear of criticism. And so now I'm able to take risk. Your ability to really neutralize these Libra over extra hard Libra tendencies is going to give you that momentum that you need to be able to take risks, which is going to lead you to walk away from stagnant relationships, professionally, personally, family wise. And a lot of people are going to find themselves moving back towards entrepreneurship. There was a really, really big boom 2 to 3 years ago when all the baddies was going back to corporate. All the baddies, myself included, was going back to 9-to-5s. Now, a lot of people are going to be shifting back into solopreneurship and entrepreneurship. And there's going to be a strong emphasis on personal branding, and branding in general. If you have a company or a product-based business, even service-based businesses are really getting hip to like having a very strong brand identity. And then also innovation is going to be really big. And that's also just going to be coming from people realizing their boundaries. Like, okay, there are no boundaries, or understanding restrictions. What are the restrictions on the market? What are the restrictions, on the economy, and how can I innovate in between those things, to be able to be more self-sustainable. So all of those are some themes. And now I'm going to get into the timeline. Love y'all. So that brings me to the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle. So there are 6 eclipses in the cycle. And to help you get a better understanding of the timing and when each eclipse occurs, I'm going to share with you guys my screen so we can look at this and go through this together, okay? Because I need for y'all to understand. So we're gonna switch screens now. All right, friends. So I made 2 graphics that I want to share with you guys, and I'm going to show you guys this one first. And this is the breakdown of the Aries and the Libra eclipse cycle. So this cycle, this graphic is showing us first, when are the dates? So when is it happening? Where is it happening? And what part does this play in the overall bigger picture that we're looking at here? So we can see that the first Aries eclipse started. So we can see that this eclipse cycle started on April 20th, 2023. It started with an Aries solar eclipse at the 29th degree. And this is the beginning of the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle. Then we went to October of 2023. October 14, 2023, we had the Libra solar eclipse at the 10th degree, and this is the first of 3 Libra eclipses. Now we're in spring 2024, and we're moving into part 2 of this Libra cycle. So this is really, like, I say it's a 6-part cycle, but now that I'm looking at it, this is really a 3-part cycle. So we have the first 2 phases, boom, here. This is the setup. This is the prelude. This is the midpoint, okay? We really finna start to get into some action here. And this is the grand finale. This is like the conclusion. This is what we started here, finally reaching its resolution. So let's get into it. Let's break it down. All right. Let's look at the storyline of this cycle. So we kick things off, right, in April 2023. This is where it all started. Keep in mind that this solar eclipse happened at the 29th degree of Aries. And so there was a lot happening in April 2023. There was a lot of things happening in regards to people had some sort of wake up call and was like, okay, something has to change. Like whatever I'm doing now is no longer working. A pivot needs to happen. This is the beginning of the Aries and Libra eclipse cycle. So what doors are opening? I really want you to think about what doors were opening for you. What ideas, what seeds were you starting to plant? You were like, okay, I'm about to push go on something. You push go on something, whether you started a family, whether you started to take yourself more seriously. Like there was something that happened in April 2023 that was like, okay, now is the time for you to start moving towards this thing. Even if you didn't even make physical steps in like reality to move towards it, mentally and emotionally and spiritually, something was like, was fertilized within you that you were ready to then bring into manifestation in October. So then part 2 happens, right? This is the Aries energy. This is the fire. It's a solar eclipse. We're starting things. It's on that supercharged new moon energy, right? So there's some realization. Something was activated in your chart. Then we move to the Libra eclipse, solar eclipse in April. So then we move to the Libra solar eclipse at the 10th degree on October 14th, 2023. Now, this is still like very new to the eclipse energy, but this is our first Libra eclipse, and this is our first eclipse on the South Node. And because this is on the South Node, there is this sense of shedding. Remember, the South Node is really showing us the things that we need to let go of. And so we've already talked about those Libra themes that we're releasing during this cycle. And so people are going to start to become more aware of like codependency. Like, okay, relationships. A lot of people started getting divorced, y'all. A lot of little red squiggly lines and stuff on the shade room. A lot of business partnerships. A lot of people started being like, okay, maybe this business relationships. There was a lot of endings that started to happen, transitions that started to occur in October 2023 to make space for whatever you're starting now while I'm filming this video now, during spring of 2024. So something happened in Libra, and it's like the 10th degree, it's a Capricorn degree. So we're like, all right, let's get for real here. You know, people are really ready to mature. There's a sense of emotional maturity. There's a sense of social maturity. There's a sense of adulting of like, okay, I need to get for real. Like, all right, I need to get serious. And the one thing I can say about Libra energy is because I'm a Libra stellium, Libra rising, Libra sun, Libra everything, is that Libras love to operate under pressure. We always talk about balance, but Libras love to drag shit until you can't drag it no more. And this energy is really like, nah, we not dragging no more. We not forcing no more. We not waiting until things hit the fan for us to take action. And so there was like this sense of oh shit energy. Like I need to like start to take myself serious because the things that are my life that are not working, I can see them more clearly now. So I really need to start to make space and prepare for new deals, new partnerships, new relationships. There was like a breaking point of like, okay, I started to pay attention to this more during April, but now I'm like, all right, let me actually take action on those things. And so there was a lot of pivots that were made between October 2023 and March of 2024. You need to really not ask yourself what happened in October, but in order for you to really know understand what is unfolding for you in the third part of this story, this series, you really need to ask yourself what you did between what did I do, and be for real here, because you can't lie. That's the thing I love about astrology. You can't lie. That full moon, that new moon, it's going to expose you. So either you did the work or you didn't. You feel me? And so whatever was done between October and March, you need to really ask yourself, what steps did I take? What moves did I make? How did I really put myself in position so that during this third part of this eclipse, I can start to see results? So the things that were weighing me down, right? I realized that I wanted to start working towards in April. You should have started putting those things into place in October. And if you didn't, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's shit that I didn't do, and now I'm paying for it because I didn't do what I needed to do over the last 6 months. And so this is just, eclipses are not here to punish you or to reward you. It's literally a cause and effect. Like, and that's what the people don't want to tell you about astrology. They're like, oh, you don't have control over your own life. It's the planets. Bullshit. Cause and effect. Okay. The energies, these are influences. These are the opportunities and the potential that is here. And this is a direct result of how you utilize those energies to your advantage or to your disadvantage. So now that we're here in March 2024, we're at the second of the 3 Libra eclipses. And so again, we're starting to really see the results, and we're starting to really shed anything that is holding us back from taking accountability in our relationships, taking accountability in our decision making. A lot of people do not have their biggest setback and their biggest self form of self defeat is indecisiveness. And it's not just like indecisiveness is like, oh, I'm gonna go back to my man. Oh no, it's indecisiveness in your own internal head, your own internal landscape of, should I do this? Should I not do this? Like, you're your own worst self-critic. And at being at the 5th degree of Leo, it's really asking you to pay attention to how you feed your self-confidence, how you feed your self-esteem. I've been seeing the words validation. I've been seeing the words reinforce. And like, this is a season for you to really reinforce the foundation of your self-worth and your self-esteem, what makes you feel confident, what makes you feel good about yourself. This is your opportunity during this eclipse, this Libra lunar eclipse in March, to really reframe how you see yourself and how you see your efforts showing up and merit back to you in the world. So whether that's through your relationships, whether that's through your job, whether that's through your career, whether that's through your hobbies, whether that's through your self-care routines, whatever that looks like for you in your house of Libra, this is an opportunity for you to really clean house, y'all, and release all of that stuff that is standing in your own way, because in a couple of weeks after that, we have the part 4. This is the second of 3 Aries solar eclipses. And so this energy is really starting to build on what started in April of 2023. Like the whole point of this thing, is to get to that sense of individuality, that sense of interdependence, that sense of I am me, right? Like I am the main character of my life. I am finding my voice again. I feel confident in whatever areas of your life that you're currently working on. In all aspects, everybody right now is really trying to get back to themselves. Literally everybody. And recreate the next version of themselves, and moving towards the version of themselves that they really want to be. We're unlearning all of the things that other people told us, all of the parts of our personalities that we added on and we stripped away to make ourselves more pleasant, to make ourselves more pretty, to make ourselves more presentable, to make ourselves more tolerable, right? That level of tolerance. Libras are tolerators. People will say Libras are indecisive. They know exactly what they want. They are tolerating other things because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do to get the best reaction. And that's what we're unlearning. And so when we get to this eclipse, this is our season to really get to a place of like, all right, y'all, this is the progress. Like, finally, we're in some meat energy. It's at the 19th degree, right? We are at the 19th degree. We're at a Libra degree. So it's like, okay, this is the balance. This is the medium. This is the space that I was looking for. So you're going to have an opportunity to start something, to really create a new pathway for yourself during this second Aries solar eclipse. This is a beautiful period. There's a lot of healing energy that is already taking in place during Aries season, between Chiron and the sun. We've already had that Chiron North Node conjunction earlier in the year in February and March. So there's a lot of healing that took place, y'all, in the beginning of 2024 to really prepare for what is coming in April. And you just need to be ready for it. Like, you really need to be ready for it. And you need to write down, to get clear in your head, like, I genuinely believe in myself. You need to hype yourself up. Get in a mindset where you know that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve, because you're doing it in a way that isn't intentional, right? You know this energy is coming. You know your capacity. That's what we've been learning. We've been learning ourselves over the past year and a half. You know your capacity. You know what you like to do when you tired. You know what type of morning routine you need to have. We know this shit, y'all. We really do know this. And I just feel like so many people be coming on these astrology channels pacifying people. Like, we don't know ourselves. We know where we BS. We know what scares us. We know the areas that we play small in. We know this. And so that is what this energy is really asking us to come in and do in April. And then part 5, right? We're moving into the end of this cycle. And that way in October, we're celebrating. Again, we have at the same degree, guys, the same degree. We are we spinning the block on this. We've been here before. So we're celebrating and we're really like, yes, this is what I was working towards. This is what I had to let go of. This is why I had to shed all the things that I had to let go of. This is why I had to go through those seasons of loneliness, and seasons of self-motivation and self-determination and pushing myself when I didn't want to. This is why. This eclipse right here is why. And you're going to really see if you did the work between this eclipse, the March 25th, the April 8th. And this is where you're going to really see who been about that action. And so if you don't like where you are, because like, let's be for real, some things that I don't like. I'm like, oh, this is not it. This is not it. During this eclipse, I'm like, no, this is not it, y'all. This is not what I want. But I'm like, okay, it's cool. I don't have to rush. I don't have to try to beat the system. I don't have to beat myself up. I got 6 months to do what I need to be able to do to see some changes in this house, but come October. So that way when March hits, was almost April in 2025. Oh, baby, we celebrate and it's go time. People launching apps, people launching new businesses, people, whatever it is that you felt like was holding you back within your Aries and your Libra's house, it is now going to be a trampoline. It is a slingshot that is going to sling you into this next season of your life. And the reason why I'm so confident about that is because we just have to think about where we were during the Taurus and Scorpio. When I went into the Taurus eclipse cycle, y'all, financially, in my 8th house, it was dead, all of that. Literally, I came out of that cycle, paid off, I don't know how much debt, financially, the most financially secure I've ever been. And when I started that Taurus eclipse cycle, bro, it was bottom of the barrel for me. Okay. Bottom of the barrel. And it's literally an opportunity for you to level up in your Aries house. And so in your Aries and your Libra houses. And so now that we have a better understanding of this timeline, how all of these cycles play out together, we're going to go into, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to go back to the regular screen so I don't have to look at my screen anymore. And we're going to walk through the rising signs together. And I'm going to give you guys some solutions and some tea, some predictions about how this energy could possibly be showing up as potential for you over the next 2 years, the next year and a half. And how I would use it if I were you, and how I'm using it for my Libra is like what I'm finna be doing to really take advantage of this next year's energy as we wrap up this Aries and Libra eclipse cycle. So let's go ahead and head over back to the big screen. We're going to get into the rising signs, but for full transparency, I probably will be looking down a little bit just to make sure that I'm saying the same things that are going to be showing up on the screen. So I wanted y'all to see what I'm looking down at, so y'all don't think I'm down here looking at notes or anything. Even if I was, that's my business. But I'm just letting y'all know, because I be wondering sometimes, like I be wanting to be nosy. And yes. So the reason why I'm doing really quick disclaimer, we're going to do it by pairings. And usually I'll do like individual Aries through Libra, Libra through Aries type of situation. But for the eclipses, both houses are going to be activated for both of the signs. So it's very much, it makes so much more sense to do it by the pairings than to do it individually, because I would literally be saying the same thing twice. So we're going to kick it off with Aries and Libra because it's y'all's year. There's a lot going on for Aries and Libra, cardinal signs in general, but specifically for those two placements, especially if you are a rising, Libra rising or Aries rising. And if you do not know your rising sign, please look up your chart. And if you don't know your birth time, then just go by your sun sign, okay? So for Aries and Libras, these eclipses are impacting your 1st and your 7th houses. So for Aries, anytime there is an Aries lunar eclipse or an Aries solar eclipse, then this is going to be, there are no Aries lunar eclipses. But so for the Aries solar eclipses, Aries are going to be occurring in your 1st house. For the Libra lunar eclipse and solar eclipses, they're going to be occurring in your 7th house, and vice versa. So Libra, when the Aries eclipses are going to be showing up for you, they're going to be in your 7th house. And for Aries and the Libra eclipses are going to be showing up, they're going to be in your 7th house. So this is why for all the signs, you'll see that I did them together. So what does that mean? So in astrology, the 1st and the 7th house, y'all, is going to be very much some of the similar things we already talked about. The 1st house rules a house of self, the house of identity, your face, your outlook on life, how you perceive the world, is going to be directed by your 1st house. And your 7th house is going to be dealing with your partnerships. The type of how you relate in relationships is going to really show up in your 7th house. So for Aries, you show up in your relationships very much like Libra, right? And for Libras, in your relationships, you show up very much like an Aries. And so it's interesting that you're both in this season where you're really learning, one, who you are, but you're learning who you are and who you are not based on your relationships. So your kids, your partners, your parents, your families, you are learning so much and remembering so much about who you are based on your partnerships. And so for Aries and Libras, it's very important for you to be particular as hell about the type of individuals that you allow into your space over the next 2 years. So between 2023 and 2025, you're going to go through a radical transformation in regards to how you see yourselves and how you show up for other people based on how you see yourself. So as you continue to, so back in 2023, there was probably like a shakeup for you. There was probably a lot of low moments for Aries and Libras in 2023. I would definitely say for Aries and Libra and cardinal signs in general, 2023 is probably one of the hardest years you've had in the past decade. And that's because there is so much shadow work that feels like came up for you all at once. Chiron was in Aries. The North Node moved into Aries. We've got the eclipses in Aries and Libra. And so there was a lot of focus on you. And there was a lot of focus on your shortcomings. And you feel a lot of pressure. That is what I feel when I think about Aries and Libras right now, is there's a lot of pressure surrounding your performance. There's a lot of things riding on you. You may be in a season where you're living by yourself for the first time, or you just purchased your first house. There's something that like you, for the first time, you're relearning something, or you're entering into a chapter of your life that you've never been before. And so there's a lot of unknown things showing up for Aries and Libras right now. Like literally this version of yourself, you have not experienced it. Even if you're like 65 years old, I feel like Aries and Libras are like, yo, I don't know who this person is. We're going to figure this person out together. Like that's how you're talking to yourself. Like me and you, we going to get this together. Me, you, and God, baby, because I don't know how we finna make it. And so there's a lot of self-reflection happening for, I feel like, Aries and Libras that is now starting to build. And so in 2024, you're really going to start to put this energy into play. And so a lot of people might be feeling like y'all are switching up on them this year. And that's because you're like, okay, listen, last year was a test and trial year. I really felt like I was pushed to my limits. But this year, I'm going to respond. I'm not going to react. This year, I'm going to respond to things in a way that feels right for me. I'm ready. I'm ready this year. That's what I feel like for a lot of Aries and Libras. 2024 is a ready year. Like I am ready. I am ready for all of the things that I started to prepare myself for in 2023. And when you get to 2025, you're going to be in a different space. And I feel like a lot of Aries and a lot of Libras are moving into a season of thought leadership where there's a lot of attention that is going to be coming on you. Some of you may be influencers. Some of you may be moving into a leadership role. Some of you may be more of a guide within your family. You're taking more family responsibilities, or you're more proactive when it comes to your family. Like you may be planning the family events now, or you may be hosting the family events now. Like there's a sense of like coming out. Like I think about like my mom was a debutante, and so like, you know, I wasn't a debutante, but I definitely took etiquette classes and did all of those little things that she did. And she's AKA too, so that makes a lot of sense. But sorry if you're watching this, Mom, but it makes me think of like coming out. Like I'm reintroducing myself to society. That's what I feel like Aries and Libras are doing. And everybody is doing this just because we're in that energy. But Aries and Libras are really reintroducing themselves the most. And I feel like last year, 2023, was the year when you really had to like pull everything back. Like, I mean, you emptied yourself in 2023. And now you're like, okay, I'm ready to put myself back together. And you're putting yourself back together with a sense of excitement. Like it doesn't feel like work anymore. You're in this space now where you're like, okay, I'm ready to take on this challenge. And I'm excited for this challenge. So that's where we are for Aries and Libras. Pisces and Virgos. So Pisces and Virgos, your second and your eighth house is going to be lit up over the next 2 years. So between 2023 and 2025, Pisces and Virgos are going to be focusing on their bags. Okay, your money is a big deal, Pisces and Virgo risings. You're really paying deep attention to your economic streams, whether that's like your social status, like your financial status. It could be like your tax bracket is changing. You're making more money. Hopefully that thing isn't messing up the mic. You're making more money. You're paying off a lot of debt, or you're going into a season of like ownership. There is this sense of really focusing on first your sense of self-worth. I feel like a lot of Pisces and Virgos are really honing in, especially Pisces. You're having to learn your value. You're really having to learn money. Like some of you are coming into money over the next 2 years, and you really need to learn how to manage it better. Like if you aren't in your bag, like I feel like this is two things. Let me just be for real with y'all. Pisces, your 8th house is being shadowed right now. And so there is this really deep focus on you being dependent on other people, or other people being dependent on you. And if you're being dependent on other people, this is your 2 years to cut ties. Like otherwise, in the next 10 to 12 years, you're literally going to be in a position where like you're going to really struggle, because you did not learn how to provide for yourself. And for a lot of you, it's a mindset thing. It's a mindset around how you feel like money has to be earned. Work has to be hard. You know, there's a mindset around money where it may be blocking you from getting a traditional job, or you may be in a traditional type of job and you need to move towards entrepreneurship. But there is this sense of like, okay, well, I don't have the skill set. I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the credentials. And this is your opportunity to go get that. But instead of you seeing that as an opportunity, you're becoming aware of what you do not have. You're sulking in that rather than using that as a slingshot to be like, okay, damn, I don't have these credentials. I don't have these things. This may be a good time for me to go and get it. So I feel like Pisces are in that place where they're really learning like, okay, I do need to be more self-sufficient. I do need to be more of a contributor, whether it's for my family or whether it's genuinely for my own survival. But like Pisces are really in that space now where they're focused on setting themselves up long-term for the future. Now, Virgos, you're releasing this sense of codependency. Like you've been taking care of other people, or other people have been very dependent on you, and you're now having to figure out who you are without that support. Right? Even if you're the person supporting them, it's like, okay, but I know that I have this person there, so you don't have to feel alone. And now you're really having to ask yourself, who am I without these responsibilities? What would I like to do with my money? Like if I had the resources, the time, the energy, the capacity to really pour back into myself, what would that look like? What income streams would I pursue? I won't say chase, but pursue. What skills would I invest in? What standards would I like for my life to meet? Like what values am I ready to explore and implement? Like if I could just make decisions strictly for myself, what do those decisions look like? What type of life do I want to live? What type of resources do I want to have access to? What type of resources do I want to share with others? Like what type, my self-worth, what makes me feel worthy? And you're going to start to really pour into those things that really bring you this sense of like, this makes me feel good. This makes me feel valuable. Like you really need to make yourself pretty. Like this is Virgos. I don't know why I'm feeling this, but like you need to look good. You need to pour into, to do your hair, do your nails, get yourself new clothes. Like Virgos, really, this is your time to really pour into yourself. Like really pay attention to how your appearance and how you show up in the world plays on your psyche and how you view your self-worth. Like it's not even just money with y'all. I don't even know why I feel that way, but intuitively, like I genuinely feel like you need to pour into how you physically feel about yourself, because how you feel, like I know this for a fact, y'all. When I look good, when I feel like I don't care if y'all think I look good. When I feel like I look good, I show up. You can feel it, baby. Like it's a different Morgan. It is a different Morgan. And when I just started really investing in myself, like even in the mornings, washing my face, brushing my teeth, doing my hair, even if I'm not leaving the house, like it changed my whole energy. And I feel like that is where Virgos and Pisces are. You really need to start paying attention to the little things. The little things actually do impact how you see yourself, how you view yourself. And some of you are like, also need to make sure that you're not falling into like vanity traps. Like you're not following trends like, oh, you know, this is trending, I'm going to do my hair like that. Like, no, you really need to be like, okay, this is my style. This is my vibe. These are the foods that make me feel good about myself. Like you're really paying attention into like what you want to invest your time, your energy into, what you're not going to allow. I feel like there are certain boundaries that Virgos are really having to like, no, I'm going to stand on business about this. There are certain aspects of your life that you're wanting to make more private. So you're being more intentional about the things that you publicly share. And so people may feel like you're being more secretive, but it's just like, nah, like these are things that I value and they're very personal to me. And it doesn't mean that I'm not trying to share them with everybody, but I'm just not willing to share them with you. And that's just being real. Okay. So definitely really pay attention to what things are being activated in regards to your sense of self-worth, your sense of self-transformation, your sense of privacy, your sense of like, you know, aesthetics, like in terms of what makes you feel worthy, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel beautiful for real, like beautiful for real. And that's going to like really show up in terms of everything else that you do. All right. That's all I got for Virgos and Pisces. So Aquarius, all right, Aquarius and Leo risings, your third and your ninth house is being activated. So for Aquariuses, you're really moving towards the sense of communication. You guys, you're an air sign, right? So Aquariuses are naturally communicators, but I feel like you had to take a step back a little bit and really relearn the world around you. Like there is this sense of like, curiosity that is happening for a lot of Aquarius is some of you are moving, like your location, where you are, where you live, where you're staying. Some of you could be bi-coastal, where like you realize that you like to spend this time on this coast during this time of year, or you like to be in those environments during that type of year. Your location is really big for a lot of Aquariuses right now. Like there's a huge focus on the environments that you surround yourself in. And this is a really great time, I feel like, for Aquariuses to really reconnect to like their sense of siblings. So if you have siblings, this is a really like the next 2 years, 2023 to 2025, there's a big focus on siblings. There's a big focus on like cousins or like, you know, third cousins, or if you had like childhood best friends that you were really close to and you moved away from, like you're reconnecting to people in your life that are exposing you to parts of yourself that you haven't got to experience before. So there's like this sense of cultural learning. Like there's a sense of observation happening for Aquarius where like you're learning as you go. Like you're being thrown into different environments and you're gaining different resources and knowledge and wisdom and things like that within those environments. This is a really great time for Aquarius is to not settle down. Like this is not a season for Aquarius to settle their roots. Pluto just moved into your first house again. And so there's a sense of experimenting with your sense of identity. Like, who am I? What do I like? Really exploring your hobbies, exploring your interests. So this is really a great time for Aquarians who like to mix things up to really lean into that like, okay, I'm just going to go with the flow type of energy, because typically you're very much like, this is what I'm going all in on. You're very much so like, I am committing to this. And even if I don't like it anymore, I'm going to stick to it. Where you're really learning how to not necessarily go as deep into certain subjects and really just gain other skill sets. Like, so you're expanding your toolkit. There's like a really great opportunity, I feel like, for Aquarius is to really learn more about the world around them through just their daily interactions and their daily activities. And the more that you get out your house, the more that you interact with people, the more you just surround yourself with the type of environments that you feel inspired by, the more you're going to gain clarity, the more you're going to gain confidence, the more you're going to be like, this is what I want to do. This is what I'm interested in. Like, the more you experience, the more you'll figure things out. Whereas Leo's like, you need to stop being so scattered. Like Leo's, there is a niche or a specialty. I feel like you're going to really dive deep into your area of expertise. Or this is a season where you can start to gain credibility. Like, this is a really great time for promotions, for self-publishing, for public speaking, to really start to share your message, to tell your story. Leos are really being called to share their voice more. There's an opportunity to really step up into their power in a way that feels very authentic and natural. Like, listen, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm interested in. And you're going to find that people are just very gravitating towards you. You're going to find that people really are interested in the lessons and the things that you have learned, because it feels like you've gone all in one specific area of your life, where we're living in a generation that are generalists. Very few people specialize in something. Few people stick to a specific niche. And so for Leos right now, it's almost like really great to be known for a specific thing. So you're like, okay, I'm really good at cooking. You know, you can get a lot of, like, you'll find a lot of opportunities just around that one specific gift. So where you feel like you have to scatter yourself, I feel like Leos need to really go deeper, like go deeper into the things that you feel called to do. Like, this is a chance for you to really establish your roots in your specific entities, like whether that's your brand, whether that's your career, whether that's through your church, like you in a church and now you're like really becoming an active member of your church home, or you joined a group and now you're really becoming an active member of that group or that organization. Like, there is some sense of like commitment that feels like it's happening right now for Leos. Like, I'm committing to this. Like, this is something that I want to commit to full term, or this is something that I really want to see through. Like, there is this deep sense of like loyalty and devotion to your purpose right now. Like, there's a certain lifestyle or mindset that you're really moving deeper into. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with Leo's mindsets, especially when it comes to like relationships. Like, there used to be a certain level of like self-pity and self-destruction and playing the victim and feeling like the world was against you. And now you're really sense of like, okay, I am the writer of this story. Like, my relationships don't have to be that. They can actually be this. And so your mindset shift, your outlook on life, your belief systems, I feel like are really shifting. And you're now really starting to go deeper, even like into astrology. For some of you, you're thinking of like astrology may have used to be in very surface level for you, but now you're like, okay, I actually really resonate with this specific type of astrology and this specific type of horoscopes. And you're really honing in on that. So I feel like Leos are going deeper into the things, you're going deeper into the things that you feel really called to do. And your storytelling is really the focal point for all, whether it's through your children, whether it's through your brand, whether it's through your business, whether it's through your family life. Like, there are stories that need to be told. And for you, especially when Jupiter moves into Gemini later this summer, it's going to be really important for you to leverage that energy and to expand your platforms, because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Leos to like publicly share their stories and their voices over the next year. And you need to be prepared for that. And so this Libra eclipse is really kind of showing you where like you could be overthinking things, or, you know, you should get out more. Like, if you've been very introverted, this Libra lunar eclipse, the Libra energies, anytime those eclipses are activated, you're going to be like drawn towards your friends. You're going to be drawn towards traveling. You're going to be drawn towards really reconnecting with people who reminds you either where you want to be or where you do not want to be, or where you used to be and you're glad you're not there anymore. So just be mindful of that. And that's all I've got for Leo and Aquarius. Capricorn and Cancer. So Capricorn and Cancer is your fourth and your fourth and your 10th house is being activated by the Aries and Libra eclipses. And so Cancer and Capricorn, there's a really big focus on your career, your public image, and your home life. Like, and your emotional well-being. So for starters, Cancers, there's going to be a really big focus on your family life. There's a lot of responsibilities that you feel really weighed down by. Like, you're really feeling the sense of like um emotional like instability. Like, I feel like Cancers have been hiding a little bit. They've been like super low key. Like, they've been super low key, very much like working behind the scenes, really fostering their relationships. There could have been relationship changes and things like that. But there's a lot of things that have been happening for Cancers in regards to like feeling unappreciated or feeling misunderstood by the public. And I feel like the Libra eclipses are really going to bring that into the light, where they're going to be learning how to express those vulnerabilities more and learning how to be more honest with themselves and find coping mechanisms to move through that, so they don't feel like so stuck and stagnant by social criticism and opinions. Because the North Node is in your 10th house. So like, yes, a lot of energy coming your way. And so you've got to be able to like, you know, have a strong emotional foundation to be able to deal with that, because there is this sense of like, okay, who am I and how do I want to show up and what changes are happening within my business? And, you know, like what do I want to do in my career, and making those changes and moving into a leadership role and all of those different types of things. Cancer is having to make those decisions about like, okay, what am I, what do I want to share with the public, and what do I really want to keep to myself? And am I going to allow external opinions to really dictate how I show up? Because the criticism or the fear or the anxiety that you feel about being publicly seen really does affect your home life. And so you could be seeing some like, you know, changes and things like that within your family dynamics because of the impact that you may be experiencing right now within your career, or your just sense of public identity, your reputation, you know, how people see you, what you're known for. You know, so you could have been known for one specific thing, and now you're not really known for that anymore. And that could almost be like, you know, disruptive to your sense of like your core of who you are. Or you could be someone who is very much dependent on your family, and now you're in a season where like you're responsible, you're maturing, you're having to make decisions for yourself. And that's really hard because you're a little bit nervous about the long-term effects of those things. And then Capricorns, you're like the opposite, right? There's newness happening in your family. So there's recent additions. Some of y'all had kids in 2023. Some of y'all bought homes in 2023. Some of y'all, you know, may have lost family members in 2023. And so there was a really big shift that happened in your home life. And so those shifts have really impacted your career, you know, and so you've had to make changes into how you work, where you work, when you work. There's a lot of pivots that have been made in regards to your long-term goals based on the changes that you want to make or that have been made in your family life. And so it's very important for you not to lose sight of yourself as well, because Capricorns and Cancer is like, it's like you're carrying, you know, your family's legacy or your family's future on your back. And you also need to make sure that you're still thinking about the things that you want to do for yourself. You know, you need to make sure that you're being disciplined in like, yes, I know I have these responsibilities, but I still need to do these things for myself. And I can say that to y'all because I'm a mom and I'm a single mom, and I know how hard it is to balance all things self-care, children, home, your relationship, and your business, your job, your family. Like, I know, okay? So y'all can cry to somebody else about that shit. But I do want y'all to really understand, like, there is a sense of there is a balance, there is a medium that can happen. It's really just going to require communication and tolerance and, being uncomfortable and being vulnerable, like being like, yo, babe, I need time, or child, I need some space, or mom, dad, sister, I need help with these things. Like really learning how to lean on your tribe. But first, you have to be willing to let people know where you're struggling or where you're needing more support. And I feel like that's really hard for Cancers and Capricorns to do right now, is to like let people in on the struggle, because like you're so locked in on the long-term goal, but it's like, okay, but at what cost? And so the dynamic that you're going to be learning over the next, like between 2023 and 2025, is like finding that middle ground of like taking care of yourself while still really pursuing these big long-term goals that are going to elevate your life for the long term. But there's just a lot of intricate details that you're having to maneuver through to be able to fulfill that. So just really like pay attention to how those things are showing up for you, especially when we talk about the timeline, when those placements are activated in your chart. All right, Cancer and Capricorn, that's all I got for you. Hey, okay, Sag and Jim. So your 5th and your 11th house are being impacted. And what this is really telling me, especially for Sagittarius, is that there is this really, really big focus on your sense of like community. There is this really, really big change in regards to group dynamics. Like a lot of Sagittarius risings are really moving into a leadership role, or have moved into a leadership role, or preparing to move into a leadership role. I don't know what's going on with my hair. Or preparing to move into a leadership role. And so there's a lot of focus on developing those interpersonal skills. And I feel like the Sagittarius risings are in a season where this is your opportunity to really learn and play with your strengths. Like what makes you unique. And I feel like that is very natural for Sagittarius, but in a season where it feels like everyone is trying to stand out and do their own thing, it could feel like almost like, okay, why everybody trying to buy my swag? Like, I feel like that's how Sagittarius are talking right now. Like, look at everybody trying to be like me. Y'all can't do be me. But nobody is really trying to be like y'all. We're just now all finally getting into that fire energy of like, okay, listen, we want to be ourselves. So we just catching up, y'all. But I think Sagittarius need to really look at this as an opportunity to really shine in your light. And if there's any sense of internal distress, it's because you are internally comparing yourself to other people. People are not like, even if they are trying to bite off you a little bit, it's really just appreciation. And for me, I was like, I'm being for real. The business person in me is like, okay, this is your time to trademark. I feel like Sagittarius need to focus on trademarking, patenting, really locking in your branding. Okay, let people know. Secure your bag. Secure your vision. Secure your bag. Secure your vision. Do what you need to do to be able to protect your ideology. Like there's a lot of big thinking ideas that Sagittarius have, but you need to really be focusing on a team. And it's not like hiring people. Some of you may need to focus on collaboration. Some of you may need to team up. Like this is your time to partner with other people in your industry who are doing big stuff, right? Or leveraging your platform. Some of you have been in this game for decades. This is your season to really leverage it. We have already been in a digital age, but with Pluto being in Aquarius, we are very much so like stuck here now. Like it is stuck and it's up. So this is your opportunity to really be like, remind people of your resume. Like this is your opportunity to really showcase to the world what you've done over the past, 12 years, 10 years, 5 years. Like this is your opportunity to really leverage the platform and the branding, whether it's whatever you're known for. This is your time to really leverage that and to really showcase that and to really utilize this energy to to elevate yourself, like to really get into a place where you're letting go of any subconscious fears that you may have had, you know, around your ego, you know, around your gifts. Like, this is your opportunity to really solidify your social standing as that thought leader. And to also, you really should use this time to get to know other communities, immerse yourself in your community, get involved, like really get involved. That is something that is very big for Sagittarius is right now, is very being intentionally being involved in those communities. Because if you've already established yourself in those communities, then you can really leverage it. People going to be coming to you. But if you haven't established yourself as a thought leader in those spaces, this is your season to do so. Like, this is your season to set yourself up, to come up with a press kit, a pitch kit, whatever you need to do. Like, you need to really show people like, okay, I'm ready to be taken serious in this area. These are my strengths. These are the ways that I stand out. And then for Gemini, this is your time to really like show out. Like, this is your time to experiment with your sense of creativity. This is your opportunity to really go out and explore different hobbies, different creative interests. This is your time to really just experiment with how you show up in the world. What brings you pleasure? What brings you fulfillment? It's a really great time for Geminis to travel. Or if you have children, this is a time where your children are going to be more involved in sports. They're going to be more involved in extracurricular activities. They're going to be more involved in their personal interests. And so it's going to naturally pull you into different worlds. You're naturally going to be exposed to different things. You may be having to travel for sports, or you may be going chaperoning them for a school trip, or you may be taking a family vacation. Like, there is this sense of expanding your world. You're being exposed to new parts of creativity, right? You may be an artist, but now you're exploring different mediums. You may be a builder, but now you're exploring different materials. Like, something that you always loved to do, or something that you've always wanted to do, you're now being able to explore that in a different light. Like, even if it's on a relationship level, you and your partner may have always done this, but now you have a child, or now you're married. And so now you get to explore different parts of your relationships. Now you get to explore different parts of your family members. Like, if you and your mom, you know, growing up, like, your mom was always this way or that way. Now you're really getting to know your parents as people. You're getting to explore your siblings as people. Like, it's almost like you're being immersed into experiences with a different perspective, with a different framework. Like, you're more playful, you're more lighthearted. You know, Geminis are always known for that energy, but you're just more confident in it. You're like, okay, look, I'm a Gemini. These are my ways, and these are the things. This is an asset. This is not a liability. This is an asset, and so you're really learning how to utilize your gifts in different ways to be able to get access to different environments and resources. And so, what you're having to learn to let go of is you're really having to learn how to let go of like intentionally trying to be different. Like, I feel like sometimes Geminis can do too much to try to stand out, and like, that's no shade, but you're really learning how to like slow down and be more present in your environments, be more present with your children, be more present when you are delivering your gifts. Like, even if it's like you're relearning, you're trying out a different process, or you're taking a different route to work, like, it's almost like you're wanting to really soak up more of the experiences that you're being exposed to. And it's showing you in ways that you rush through things, that you overlook things, that you don't really think about the future, right? I think you're being more thoughtful and more conscious of how decisions that you make affect your long-term future and affect the future of the people that you care about. Like, something may have happened in 2022 or 2023. You were like, okay, look, what I do has a far greater kickback. Like, there's a kickback. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but there's a ripple effect that touches everybody around me, and you're more aware of that. And so you're making more conscious decisions when it comes to your pleasure, or you're being more lighthearted. You're not taking things as serious. So it really just depends on you, your chart, and how these energies are showing up for you in your life. But that's all I've got for Gemini and Sag. So we're going to wrap things up with Taurus and Scorpio, and we're going to be done. Really, so Taurus and Scorpio risings, these eclipses are going to be highlighting your sixth. This is going to be highlighting your 6th and your 12th house. So Scorpios and Taurus risings are really in their health bag, and they're also in their spiritual healing bag. So y'all are going through a lot right now, but y'all learned a lot about yourselves and had a lot of opportunities to restart new chapters in your life during the Taurus and Scorpio eclipse cycle from 2021 to 2023. And so now you're really kind of in this space of relearning habits to be able to sustain those things and unlearning habits to be able to sustain those things. So Scorpios, there's this really big focus on releasing relationships. If y'all have not gone through a breakup, or if you have not felt like you are going through this like really weird period with a partner, or you may be dealing with like internal depression, or just kind of like not really low, but the past year and a half ain't really been your best year. You know, you've been like in this space of just quiet, just more laid back, more low key. There's been a lot of lessons, a lot of unlearning. You might have had some health issues that you've been trying to work through. You may have been feeling more anxious or more anxiety or just more stress. And this is a season where I feel like we're midway through it, right? And you're now kind of aware of what you're just ready to let go of. Like there are certain people, certain energies, certain dreams, literally certain dreams that you have had for yourself that you're like, okay, this is really just not, it's holding me back. Like period, point blank, like this is holding me back. Like I can't keep doing this, you know? And so you're in that space. Like you're in that space of like, I cannot keep doing this. And whatever is like reoccurring for you, every time that Libra axis is activated, you need to really pay attention to what's irking you. Like, what am I holding on to? What am I clinging on to? What is not working for me? And so I feel like Scorpios are really also learning how you self-isolate, how you may be a little delusional about, how you may be a little bit blind, walking into certain situations blind about your relationships. Like, you know, this is a season where you're really starting to learn some of the unhealthy habits that you may have carried into relationships due to upbringing or past traumas or whatever the situation may be. Scorpios are really releasing a lot when it comes to this Libra energy. And Aries is in your 6th house, and so you are learning how to be more consistent. And when it comes to your relationship, you really need to gravitate towards people who are consistent, who really do align with the daily lifestyle that you're trying to live. And you need to pour into your health. That's what you're really being called to pour into, is your health, your work, your mentality, your mental health, right? You're really being asked to pay attention and to really invest in those things, because the more that you take care of your mental health, your mental well-being, your emotional well-being, your physical well-being, you are just in a better space to deal with whatever is coming your way. And so there is going to be an opportunity for a lot of Scorpios to like start running, going to the gym, just getting more active, moving your body, being outside. Those types of situations is where you're really going to find a sense of release. It's where you're going to really feel like you feel mostly of yourself. You're going to feel like yourself after you move your body. And you just want to be very intentional about like of controlling the things that you really have control over. So if you have control over it, you really do need to be intentional about how you're making decisions, Scorpio, and really listening to your intuition. Like your intuition is so spot on right now. And it's teaching you so many things about yourself that you need to move towards and that you need to let go of if you're just willing to listen. But if y'all are like, nah, I ain't trying to hear that, I'm finna stick beside them, then like, okay, you gonna stick beside them, they gonna drag your ass through the mud. And that's just what it's gonna be, you know. So cry to your mama, I told you. And then Tauruses, again, you're in this season too, where like you are releasing health issues. So if you've been having health issues, stress, anxiety, just feeling emotionally overwhelmed, your mental health, been any confusion in regards to like where you work, how you work, when you work, there's been any confusion in your office dynamics, like lack of order. Some of you might have been Taurus's lack of order in your business, lack of order in the organization that you're a part of. This is a season where you're really starting to kind of have to work through those conflicts and be like, okay, we need some resolutions. And then also this is a season too where like a lot of Tauruses, you're going to be in a space where you have an opportunity to reevaluate how you may have been neglecting your health or how you may have been overcompensating in regards to your health. And so now you're going into a season of really reconnecting to your spirituality. Some of you may have been so focused, right, on yourself and on responsibilities that you had to take care of that you kind of had to, push your spiritual health to the back burner, and a lot of those practices that keep you grounded to the back burner. But now you're starting to be more proactive. Now you're starting to integrate those aspects of yourself, your intuition, your spirituality. You're making space for those things. So a lot of Tauruses are really quiet right now. Like there's a lot of Taurus energy, in 2020. 2022, 2023, but Tauruses are really quiet right now. And if you feel like you're quiet, if you feel like you're in a holding season, like please know that it's very much so for a reason, because as we move into the Pisces North Node energies and the Virgo South Node energies, you're very much so going to be moving into those leadership positions again. You're going to be at the forefront. Whatever things you're working on behind the scenes are going to be catapulted into the light. You're going to be in that 11th house vibe. And so it's going to be very much important for you. 11th and 5th house vibes. So it's going to be very much important for you to really just pay attention to, the areas of your life right now that you're being called to let go of. Like that is very real for you right now. It's like really being called to let go of certain things.